All right, great. My name is Cornelius Henderson. I'm the managing partner of Cooperative Solutions LLC. We're a residential real estate development firm based out of Washington, D.C. We'll be talking about the 4 rules for successful home renovation. Definitely an important topic for investors to talk about. Those of you who are interested in starting to do rehab, and those who are currently doing it. Definitely, I abide by these rules all the time, and it helps me to be able to make money on the rehabs. You can locate us at dcmetrorealestatedeals.com as well as isyourmoneylazy.com. All right. It's kind of 3 little elements that these 4 rules are going to cover. You want to make sure the money is straight. You want to make sure you're making money. You want to make sure that you're on time with your project, and you're going to want to make sure that you have rapport with your contractor. So jumping right into rule number 1, have a solid repair budget. You know, and in order to do that, if you haven't done it, you want to talk to major rehabbers in your area to get an understanding of the cost. Most of us, I know, in like the DC metro area, we're like, hey, standard kitchen 10, standard bathroom 5, high end goes to 15 to 20 kitchen, carpet, hardwood floorings. We kind of know a lot of these numbers in terms of the guesstimates. We kind of know them like the back of our hand. So major rehabbers are always going to give you a great advantage of giving you an understanding of those costs. If you're doing it for the first time, or just not that certain, all you have to do is basically follow up with a major rehabber, and you can obtain those costs. It's pretty simple. When you're bidding out a contract, you definitely want to obtain 3 estimates from different contractors. When you're working, so there's 2 ways to do a project. You can do a general contractor, which just one contractor, he manages all the different trades like the plumbers or carpenters, or if you do like we do, we hire out all the trade contractors individually. If you're hiring out just a GC, you want to make sure that you complete the scope of work and make it a detailed scope of work, and so that they can bid and put the same information in that scope of work. So essentially, you want to make sure that everyone is bidding on the same understood scope of work, no matter whether they're trades or GC. So if you're dealing with a general contractor, you want to say, I want a 5 by 8 bathroom with X materials and X material allowance. You want to make sure that it's consistent, because different contractors do the work differently, they interpret it differently, and you want it as comparable as possible when you're comparing those estimates. Getting those 3 estimates is going to give you a really good solid foundation for, number 1, what the repair cost is going to be. Number 2, a lot of them are going to give their judgment on what things that you may not have thought about, things that possibly you may encounter, and that's great for making sure that you get a really solid repair budget, which leads into number 3. You want to make sure that you get that budget so tight that you have a contingency fund, but that contingency fund should not be more than 10%. Do not let your contractors tell you that, oh, yeah, overruns of 10% are normal. No, it's not. They should not be going over 10%. There are certain things that, hey, they may be unforeseen. One of the biggest overruns where I had to fully use my 10% was I was underpinning the property, which is you're digging into the foundation and dropping the basement floor down, and we weren't able to tie in the plumbing within the confines of the property line. So we had to do drawings and break up the sidewalk and the street in the middle of winter. That is, that is kind of poor planning on the architect's part. But naturally, hey, it is a contingency that you have to deal with. You roll with the punches, and that was within our 10% contingency budget. It absorbed the majority of it. But there's contractors out here who will just start upcharging you once you get in the property, and saying that, oh, these are old properties, so we know we're going to overrun. No, you should kind of have a feeling of what the property looks like, whether you've got fairly new PVC, whether you got the old copper in there you're going to rip out. You should know that in advance, and have and that should be in the numbers already. Moving on to rule number 2, the timeline. Really important rule is a property should improve by $10,000 per week. I see so many investors making this mistake. They got contractors sitting around, going on forever. I mean, cooperative solutions were in and out. Let's say, for example, you got a $40,000 project. It should only take 4 weeks. You should be in and out. I call that's to me, that's painting carpet. Although certain people, painting carpet is truly just a 2-week job. For me, a $40,000 project, we can eat that for lunch all day. $100,000 project should take about 10 weeks. Usually around this range, it gets to 3 months. You have the extra 2 weeks because certain bumps hit, but in general, it should only take 10 weeks, and that's what you're focusing on. In order to adhere to this timeline, you want to meet with your contractor at the end of each week to discuss the project of the job and the expectations of the next week. You want to make sure that any materials needed that need to be selected by you, make sure that those are on site if that's the arrangement that you have. And you just want to make sure that you're holding the contractor accountable. You meet with them on a regular basis every week, and that'll make sure you adhere to the timeline. That's really important. Alright, understated rule number 3 is, I think, really important, is be flexible. A plan may not materialize as well as it was conceived. You see this a lot with homeowners because they have their perfect drawings and everything is supposed to work out. Sometimes the numbers in the plan just doesn't work out the way that you plan for it, and you have to be flexible in that situation. It'll help out with your relationship with the contractor, and you definitely want to make changes as needed, but don't make so many changes that it affects the cost dramatically. Certain contractors, actually, you want to make sure when you're making changes that everything is discussed up front, whether there are any cost changes. Some will just make the change, be like, oh yeah, that's no problem, I'll make those changes, and they're billing you, and you're not going to see it until the end. You get this surprise when you think it's not that big of a deal. So you definitely want to talk about it. You want to be flexible, and you want to make changes as needed if you need to make it, but not so many that it dramatically affects the cost, because that's where contractors are going to upcharge you when you're hitting change orders. Finally, the payment plan. In the beginning, you set up a draw schedule for how the contractor gets paid, and you do not change that payment plan. They do XYZ work, they get paid a amount of dollars. That's as simple and plain as it can be. If the contractor begins making unsolicited changes regarding the payment plan, fire him or her immediately. It's just my rule. You don't have to abide by it if you don't want to, but I don't play with that. The moment you start messing with the payment plan, you're out of here, because that means you don't know how to manage your money, and you're shifting stuff around, and you're trying to get ahead of me. I stay ahead of my contractors. You work for me, and as long as you abide by that, we're good. It's just, I don't usually have that kind of attitude towards many things in life, but I really don't mess around with contractors, because a lot of times, a lot of them will play games. So you just want to sit over here and say, hey, we can have a great relationship as long as I stay ahead of you. I know my integrity. I'm going to pay you once you do the work, and that's the bottom line. And you just want to make sure you stay ahead and stick to the payment plan. Alright, in conclusion, definitely want to invite you to join a prime buyers list at dcmetrorealestatedeals.com. It's a free bonus for joining our list. We're going to send you a 3-minute headline creator software. Essentially allows you to put a little creative spin on your marketing and create different headlines that can attract different motivated sellers or whatever it is that you're targeting and you're looking for in your marketing. Definitely want you to also like our Facebook page. You can find us at www.facebook.com/cooperative solutions. And a free gift for joining our Facebook, for liking our page, we're going to send you an ebook entitled How to Create Offers That Can Make You Rich. It's a really interesting couple of marketing strategies that we've incorporated into our marketing, and definitely worth your time looking at. And this is just a free gift, help you in your investing career. Definitely look forward to working with you.